We having a closed session tonight?
Yes.
What? Okay, I'm good.
Yes. We got stuff to do. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I do what it
Yeah.
does.
Jessica.
Don't worry about it.
What do you need?
It was only HTML on the website this afternoon. I couldn't print off a hard copy. It wasn't PDF on the website this afternoon, on the novice agenda.
What do you need a copy?
Just so I could at least. You don't have one? This is it?
All right.
No, he's got no.
I got one.
Oh. I'm good.
He's good.
Good. Everybody's got one. Thank you. Thank you.
It is 5 o'clock. I will call this meeting of April 1st, 2019 to order. First order of business is Pastor Dan Johnson of Evangelical United Church of Christ will lead us in our invocation.
Say the Cape Ministerial Alliance is very glad that the mayor and the council have invited us to do these invocations. We feel it's a real privilege for us. Before I begin my prayer, a prayer concern, note the passing of a friend of mine, Marvin Proffer. This past week, his services this week up in St. Louis, and I was a legislative intern for him in about 1976, and I really appreciated Marvin. He always visited his mother in the nursing home here in Cape, and then he'd go to church in Cape when he was visiting. So, a good friend. For our scripture, a brief reading from Psalm 126, which says that even though there may be trouble now, that we can always look with hope for the goodness and generosity of God. Restore our fortunes, Lord, like streams in the Negev. Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. Those who go out weeping, carrying the seed to sow, will return with songs of joy, carrying the sheaves with them. Let us pray. Dear God, I thank you for this beautiful spring day, and I thank you for your wonderful creation, and I ask you in everyone's hearts to remind them of the beauties of the earth, of the birds and the trees and the flowers and all the wonderful things that sometimes we don't even notice as we walk by in our rushed lives. God, I ask for blessings on all those who are bereaved, especially the family of Marvin Proffer, a great public servant, and ask for blessings on the people of the city as they exercise their right and privilege of voting tomorrow, that they have wisdom and generosity and kindness as they make their decisions. God, I ask for your blessings on this council as they make important decisions for our city, which will shape our future. Let them always consider our children and our grandchildren, as well as the concerns of today's citizens. God, I ask for blessings on the city of Cape Girardeau, that as we go into this beautiful spring season, that it be a place of peace, where diversity is accepted, where difficulties and disputes are worked out peacefully, and where love of the neighbor is always shown. I ask for the blessings in the name of my Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
If you now join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gail, do we have a proclamation? Sign one up here.
I apologize. I will go get it.
Would you someone like to receive?
Julia?
Okay.
Where is it? I'll go get it. I'll go ask.
We will go on and move into the Emergency Operations Plan presentation, if that's okay.
Sorry about that.
I didn't think about that until I looked down and realized it. I thought it might be over there, and it wasn't over there. Emergency Operations.
Yes. Mr. Hashider? Are we ready already?
We
Acting
ready?
Fire Chief Mark Hashider will bring us an update on our emergency operations plan.
I'm going to read everything tonight, so just sit back and we'll. Thank you, Mayor, member of City Council, Mr. Meyer. We have been going through a long revision of our existing emergency operation plan. So I would like to say thank you to our emergency operation planning team. There's quite a few of them in the audience today. Gail, Julia, Jessica, Brock, Bruce, looking at some of the other, but members of the city from all departments were very heavily invested into doing our new plan. And I've had the opportunity, I think this is either my third or fourth major revision of the plan. There's probably more participation in this plan than there ever has been that I'm aware of. So I think we've got a great plan this time. Plan on turning it over to Mr. Meyer for his signature and his approval this week sometime. And then we will basically be adopting a new plan. So keep in mind, if I'm ready to slide. I think, when you look at the slide here, it says preparedness plan and response. But basically, I think that one of the key things I've been asked a lot of times is what's the city council's responsibility. And I think that is the direction and support of the mitigation activities that occur within the city of Cape Girardeau. And if you look at it, and I've said a number of times to different members of the city council in the past, is that we as a city have been very proactive in mitigation activities within Cape Girardeau. Mitigation activities that prevent a disaster from occurring within the city. I can really go back to is the flood. Our wall down at the downtown area. Just look what would have happened if that wall, way back in the early 50s, I think, and maybe even the late 40s, there was some discussion about that. If we did not have that wall, what would have occurred over the past years? We wouldn't have a downtown. But then you also look at what we've done with Cape McCoy and Walker Creek. Back in the mid-80s, 85, is that we had some major disasters in that location that really impacted our central business district at that time. The city, as well as the public, went into their pockets and basically came up with some tax issues, and we were able to purchase a peg bar. Is Cape LaCroix getting it? Walker Creek is getting it straightened out and channeled, and then our water retention basin. And since then, we have not had a major incident occurring in those areas. And there's other flood projects that we've had. Our water retention basins throughout the city sometimes can be looked unfavorably when they're empty, but they can look like, oh, this is a great job, is when those things are full and doing their job. So I want to really thank the city councils today, as well as in the past, on their mitigation and support of those activities that have occurred. So if I can get my thing correct. pleasure. In addition to that, our emergency operation plan, as far as even our emergency preparedness and everything, is outlined in our chapter 10 of our code of ordinances. Does establish the needs and the means for having an emergency management plan. I think the biggest thing on our emergency management plan is that what we're trying to do is assign responsibilities, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, and make sure that we don't have duplication of effort in certain areas, and making sure things are getting completed and taken care of. Keep in mind the city, my clicker's working there, both of them are.
Darn.
But day-to-day operations are carried out within the city with no problem whatsoever. And then our daily routines, however, can be disrupted very quickly, in which we as a city have to come forward and respond to those type of activities. And normally those activities are when they're going to be tasked with more than one organization, more than 2 or 3 departments that might be involved. And then sometimes our daily routines actually are kind of a little bit of a disaster also, that we're reacting to disasters, not our daily routines, but just simply the flooding that is occurring right now. There's activities that are taken care of by public works that are responding to what could be construed as a potential disaster, and they take care of those things in a routine manner also. We're also, very susceptible to the tornadoes, the floods, of course, the ice storms, and then the big one that we always talk about and try to plan for is the earthquakes that we do have. One of the things about our new plan is that we have switched over from indexes to ESFs, our emergency service functions. And what we're trying to do is be somewhat duplicating what the state has as well as the federal government, is that they have 15 emergency service functions in which need to be taken care of in the event that there is a disaster. And those could be activated all 15 or just simply a portion of them. And a lot of times in the state right now is that during the flooding events that they will identify certain functions, certain ESFs that need to be activated and brought into the Emergency Operations Center. Those ESFs, could be anything from transportation, communications, public works, firefighting, emergency management, all the way down to external affairs, public information, are all part of those emergency service functions. Well, we don't have really 15 departments within the city of Girardeau. So what we do is that we'll take our departments that we do have, put them into primary responsibilities in the event that there is a disaster. That here's what you need to prepare for, as well as respond in the event that there is a disaster. And if I can kind of go through like firefighting, very obvious that we're taking care of firefighting. But we have other primary responsibilities, and just simply is that could be hazmat, that could be health. There are other areas that fire is going to have to be prepared for. And that's with all of our departments, is that what we'll do is that we assign somebody who is primary responsibility for any one of those 15 ESF functions. And again, what I think that does would be is that we don't forget anything in regards to areas within emergency response or disasters. We don't have duplication, so we don't have to worry about if there's a hazmat incident that we have someone else other than the fire department planning for. Fire is responsible. If there is a hazmat incident during a disaster, those are the ones that are going to be responding to it. So it's taking some of our common, everyday, what we do best, and then just simply assigning an ESF that really kind of goes along with that. And that is for all of our major departments: engineering, public works, parks and rec, all have responsibility within our emergency management, emergency operation plan. As far as the IC portion, we do have our emergency operations center. It sits there at station number 3. You're very familiar with, down in the lower level. At that point, what we try to do is to identify someone who's going to be in charge of that disaster. In this particular case, Mr. Meyer would be responsible in a large disaster. He's the one that would make all the shots, and given the effect that he would be talking with all the department heads at that point. We would also have potentially an operation, logistics, finance, and administration, and planning will all play a important part of the EOC portion of it. Keep in mind is that you still have the field operations going on as assigned by the ESFs. We we do, and we'll continue to have our emergency classification level is still in here. With everything from what we have green, which is not being shown right now, just normal daily operations we got going on. In the event that we have something, and this could be just something simply is that we have severe storms coming through potentially this weekend, is that we may up it to a yellow type situation. The flooding event gets a little bit harder, a little bit tougher, a little bit higher. We may go to a yellow just to simply make sure that everybody's aware of what is going on in this particular situation. And then, of course, orange would be a significant event, and then red would be a major event. You could pretty well sure that during the orange and red is that we would have partial activation or full activation of our Emergency Operations Center. Again, I think that the job that we've done, and specifically the jobs that you have done by your major departments, have done a great job over the years. And I think the other portion of it is the City Council support on mitigation activities. Another one that's really showing very big right now is the flooding event that we have. If you would have looked at all the homes in the early 90s that we had down in the Red Star area as well as South Florida Cape, is that all of those would be a small percentage of our total population, but could be taking a lot of our energy as normal day-to-day operations of being able to respond to, protecting them, assisting them in their times of a disaster. So right now, what we have is a lot of areas that are just simply, they're just being flooded with no problems whatsoever. We still have some roads that are still impacted, but eventually I think we'll all work on those also. So, with that, if there was any questions.
I think there's a class.
Thank you. And Jessica wouldn't have let me get away. April 10th, next Wednesday, is it?
A week from now.
Wednesday. And they can help me with the hours.
I believe it starts at 9 a.m., but it is a regional event focusing on primarily elected officials and those in related roles, talking about local disaster or local government and how we can respond to disasters themselves.
And really do, they have a great agenda. I think it's a short period of time. They have lunches being,
Yes,
it's being provided. I think there's going to be a lot of information provided in a short period of time. Right now, they have well over 80, am I correct?
I haven't heard the final number. I know it's probably about right based off of what I last heard.
And then what we're looking at specifically in our area. So I think if you haven't done already, or you still have time to register, I think it would be a great investment for you to know a little bit more about what's happening in other areas, about some of the advantages that we do have, not only with our own HSRT team, but other agencies that would provide services in the event of a disaster. It could be a great afternoon. So looking forward to it. Just kind of forgot about it a little bit. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It provides for a common language, a common plan, a common conduit for communication and command and control. And I think that common language is what really gained by being a part of it. So I think it'd be great.
Good point. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's April 10th, 9 to 3 at the casino.
Yes. Let Gail know, and she can, at this point, I think we had a sign up we were sent out earlier, but if you want to get last minute, just let Gail know, and she'll her magic.
Okay. We'll now get into the Arbor Day proclamation. Come down there. Hi, Miss Julia. Get over here with the mic so they can hear. They get a little perturbed on YouTube when they see all this stuff going on. They can't hear your voice. So
All they're looking at is your time.
You think?
Fabulous.
Okay, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed for the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri has been a Tree City, USA for 20 years, Whereas trees can reduce erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. Whereas trees are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Look around and see the flowers on them now. See that. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Bob Fox, Mayor of the City of Cape Girardeau, do hereby proclaim April 5th, 2019 as Arbor Day. And there's a frame that we will give you for this. Come over that way.
I just wanted to thank Mayor and City Council. We really appreciate this recognition. I think everybody realizes how beautiful Cape Girardeau is. And then this Friday, we are participating in an Arbor Day planting, which we typically do every Friday. We're planting 21 trees at the trailhead at Osage. And it was through a grant through the Keep Beautiful committee. So it'll be an interpretive area where people can stop off the trail and take a look at what the trees and the different types of trees and be educated a little bit more about the benefit of trees. In addition, we have Loretta Schneider. We're doing a tree planting for her at 11 o'clock on Friday, and that will be down by the Red House for anyone who would like to participate in that. That's Councilwoman Schneider will be the memorial tree, and that will be. And at 10 o'clock on Friday, they're also planting a tree at the university. Through the Cape Girardeau Rotary Club. It is their 100th anniversary. And as part of that, we help provide support through the school district to plant 100 trees at all the Cape Girardeau schools. And they're planning the 101st one at Academic Hall on Friday at 10 o'clock, and you're welcome to participate in that. So trees are big here at Cape, and so we're very proud. And 21, we're going into our 21st year as a Tree City USA. So we're proud to carry on that heritage.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll move into communication and reports. Anybody from council have anything to report?
I'd like to say something. Just so that everybody knows, the Red Star neighborhood has been working for a long time with the Parks Department on getting updated, or actually getting lighting and electricity in general in the city's oldest park, which is Cape Rock Park. And so this week, the lights got turned on at Cape Rock Park. So now if you guys go out there in the evening, it's actually beautiful. The lighting was fantastic. We've got all of our flags are really well illuminated in the evening hours. So it's a fantastic addition to the Parks Department here. Thank you, Julia, and your staff for working on that. And Brock, I think the fact that Cape Rock Park is a rock proved very difficult for the construction of that. But I think it's hard to drill into rock and run electricity into rock. But it turned out fantastic, and I just encourage everybody to go out to Cape Rock Park because it just looks spectacular with the trees in bloom and with the water real high. That is a view that is unparalleled in this area. So make sure that you make that
Especially
a part
with
of your...
that vast amount of water out there.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's pretty wild. But yeah, so it's a really good sight to see, and it's a welcome addition to the Parks Department to have lighting out there.
Good. It's going to be a safer place to be at night.
It will, absolutely.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
I'm sure that I won't be the only one that mentions this, but being the newest to the council, I got the opportunity, along with everyone else, to observe and participate a bit in Youth and Government Day on Friday. And I just want to say that, I probably may have gotten more out of it than the students. I really enjoyed it. It was nice to see some enthusiasm from our younger citizens. So I'm sure the mayor and others have a lot to say, but I just appreciate that the Optimist Club, sponsors that, and all of the local governments get involved. That's great.
It's a good day. Good day. Anybody else? I was going to mention Youth and Government Day. That's the 34th year the Optimist Clubs have done that, and I've been involved with it over the years as an optimist and seen how it goes. And since I've been on the council, I think this is by far the most active group of students that we've had as far as taking part in conversation. They sit up here sometimes and they get a little nervous and they don't say too much. And it was a very, very good day. They had some good topics to talk about, and I thought they handled it very well. They asked great questions and did real well. City attorney did marvelous too. So, student city attorney. Eric, you do a marvelous job too.
It didn't go to my head, thank you.
Okay. I also want to compliment numerous city council members for taking an active part in Citizens Academy. This is our second go around with this, and I've heard nothing but positive comments from people that are there, that they appreciate that members of the council are there and taking part in it, and it's just a neat program. I had the pleasure of being downtown Saturday for Ziegfield's 80th anniversary celebration. That was kind of a neat thing downtown. That doesn't happen very often to a local business. I want to remind everybody to vote tomorrow, please. Tomorrow's a big election day. I was going to mention the Keep Cape Beautiful Committee tree planting. Julie already did that. And congratulations to the Rotary on 100 years, the Downtown Rotary Club in Cape Girardeau. That's a big deal. And thank them for planting 101 trees in our beautiful city. Just makes things nice. Again, the emergency management seminar is coming up the 10th. There's a public art reception the 11th downtown at Basterling Suites to commemorate the new sculptures. They're going to be around the downtown area. That's always a neat thing. And our city council retreat is that next Friday, the 12th. And I think that will be at the police station community room. What time does that start?
7:45 together, and we'll start promptly at 8.
Okay, there you go. The other thing I had to mention was I'm sure you got an email on the Southeast Regional MML meeting in Sykeston on May 2nd. If you're interested in going to that, please, I'd say let Bruce know, but you'll have to let Gail know because Bruce is out this week. So I can't think of anything else. Scott?
I think you covered it all. The only thing, yesterday I got an invitation from One City. They do a lot of work-life training, and they are going to have their, I don't think it's their first one, but they're going to have work-life graduation tomorrow at noon, from noon to 1 at their facility up here on Independence. So if you have a chance to drop by, they've invited you all to come and be a part of that celebration of folks that are have gone through some training to get ready for work life. So that's great.
This is their second
It's
class.
great work.
Their
I
second
think it
class,
is.
I think.
At least their second, yeah.
Right. That's great. Great. Good program. Okay. No other communications or reports. We'll move right into, is there anybody here this evening to appear before the council for any item that is not on the agenda this evening?
Hi, my name is Will Reimer. Thank you all for hearing me. All right, thank you for hearing me.
State your name and your address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just state your name.
Will Reimer. My address is 1118 Dorothy here in Cape Girardeau. I previously was one of the owners of Reimer's on the Plaza here in Cape, right off Independence Street. I'm going to address you all today as kind of an update on things in that area. Tomorrow will mark 1 year since I first addressed many of the members of this council regarding what was going on there involving the development plan and the community improvement district that has since started its duties there in Town Plaza. Whenever I addressed the council last year, my biggest concern was that perhaps all I was asking for was that all the aspects of it, of everyone involved in it, the businesses, all the things that existed there previously, were being minded and looked after to make sure that we all came out of this with with our histories intact. Some of us have been there. I myself have been there for 9+ years at that moment in time. I had neighbors next door in the northernmost building that had been there for upwards of 15 years in craft stores. And then on the far end, we had a gentleman that had been there for several other years that operated a bag store, handbags and more. Today, I'm out of business. My business is gone. It stands fully. You could turn the key of my business today, the way it stands, and walk in and open up the bar all over again. My product still fills the cases. Everything is exactly as it was. I was sued. I came under some legal action by the CID, where I was evicted over an 8-month-long eviction process. Lasted 8 months, which is kind of odd for a normal eviction. But after 8 months, and me seeing that through, I was judged. The judgment came through to give possession of the property to the owner. Fine. However, I was also sued for $9,000 in that part where the judgment came down that I owed no money because I'd done nothing wrong. I paid all my rent. I'd done my full duty as a tenant. Everything that I could possibly do, I did. Like I said, today I'm out of business. I was never allowed the opportunity to relocate. I was never met with any help in that regard, other than some initial help by our regional or by Mr. Maynard from Chamber and Magnet that did try to find me a building location. But as soon as it got sticky and difficult, he could only operate as to his capacity as what the owner of the CID would allow him to do so. I say this. Tomorrow, we have a vote in front of the city for Proposition Y, and the premise of the Proposition Y is to help our school districts, to give money toward an area that sorely needs it. I just feel that my story pertains to that in regards to that these CIDs and these districts that we enact to provide sales tax for our city, they take property taxes from our schools, and they do help raise money for the city, which is an important role for them. However, when they're taking this money, I feel that the city itself and that we as a community owe an obligation to the businesses that came up through these areas that have taken a lot of their own personal risk involved to make sure that the businesses that they opened up could last. And that now that I look on this, I look back a year ago and I see how much of this I didn't understand, and how much now that I've learned over the past year that I've been out of work, that I've had to sell off a lot of my personal stuff to fund the existence of my business, still just to register with the state of Missouri as a business entity. And I feel like that one of these things that we need to be talking about in this area, and as we get ready to vote on Proposition Y to increase, or not increase the tax on this, but to extend the taxes that are already there that will go along with Proposition Y to fund our schools in these areas, is that we're watching out for everybody involved in this. I say that for the second year. Please watch out for the people involved in this, because I'll tell you, I invested everything I had, as did my father, in our local business. We gave it everything we had. We never incurred one violation. We did everything we could have to be a responsible business owner in this city. Like I said, today I'm out of business. So I feel it's the responsibility of this council just to make sure everybody's being looked after in these matters. It's it's not only a responsibility, but it's a well-being that we entrust you all with. We give you, whenever we elect everybody here, we give you our trust that whether we come from whether we represent a bar or whether we represent a nonprofit, no matter what we do, that we trust you guys. My trust ain't there right now, guys. I feel sad to say that. So, be mindful.
Anybody else to address the council? Not on the agenda? If not, we'll have the agenda review. Council, we have 2 public hearings tonight. The first public hearing is to consider rezoning of property along Broomfield Road from R4 to a planned development district. This is known as Ramsey's Run. You're aware of that, so we'll have that public hearing and first reading of that ordinance tonight for the rezoning. And then the second public hearing will be to consider a proposed amendment to Chapter 30, which is regarding guest houses. Currently, we do allow guest houses, but on a really pretty small square footage. This allows for larger guest houses as they've become more popular and become another way of people using their properties. We felt like it's a worthy thing to increase that square footage and allow that. We actually had a request for one, and so they felt like that was, planning and zoning felt like it was too. So we'll have the public hearing for that tonight as well, first reading. So there are those public hearings tonight. Then we have a small consent agenda. We just have the minutes, and then we have a resolution for a performance guarantee for the Liberty Apartments, of which there are a few other matters with Liberty tonight. And then the other one is the naming request for City of Cape skate park, our new skate park, which is being heavily used. I don't know that I can ever drive by. Maybe once when it was really snowing, there weren't anybody there. But other than that,
when it's raining.
when it's raining, that doesn't slow them down.
No.
But the request tonight is that it be called the Cape Noon Optimist Wheel Park. Obviously, the Optimists were very instrumental in raising some funds for the private portion of that project. On the any concerns or anything you want to make comment on regarding the consent agenda items you want removed, or if not, the regular agenda contains the reading of Chapter 30 for the guest houses, for the record plat of the Herrig development. That's area where we had the house or the section on that fell down. It's a re-platting of that along Morgan Oak, I believe. And then number 8 is the record plat for the Liberty subdivision. And this is one we're asking for the first, second, and third readings of this ordinance due to the fact that there is a grant involved, I believe. Therefore, Eric, if you want to comment on that.
There are deadlines for the tax initiatives that are involved there, and because of those deadlines, to meet those deadlines, the first, second, and third reading would have to happen tonight with approval occurring after that.
That'd be an emergency reading, therefore it requires a five votes to pass number 8. We have a couple of utility easements. Number 9 is for Drury Properties, Deerfield Estates, and number 10 will be Kensington Place. Questions regarding those items? The last item tonight is appointments to the Town Plaza Community Improvement District. I know previously, Mayor, you asked that it be delayed and some communication take place regarding the repairs on the parking lot and the travel way on that parking lot. Those repairs have taken place, and so I believe we're ready to make that appointment. All right. Thank you. All we have.
All right. Any questions? If not, we'll now go into regular session, and we'll have the roll call, please.
Mr. Essex,
Here.
Mayor Fox.
Here.
Mr. Guard.
Here.
Mr. Gunn. Absent. Ms. Kinder. Here. Ms. Moore. Here. Mr. Preston.
At this point, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Guard, seconded by Shelley. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We have 2 public hearings tonight. The first is a public hearing to consider request to rezone property on Bloomfield Road from R4 medium density multifamily residential to PD planned development. Anybody here tonight on behalf of this public hearing for this rezoning? Don't see a number of people clamoring to get to the microphone. So we will close this public hearing. Our second public hearing tonight is to consider a proposed amendment to Chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri regarding guest houses. Anybody here this evening to make any comments on the proposed amendment regarding guest housing? close that public hearing. Are there any individuals tonight who wish to make any comments on any item that's on the agenda this evening? Quiet crowd tonight. Holy cow. If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Eric?
Number 19-51, a resolution authorizing city manager to execute a performance guarantee agreement with Liberty Apartments of Cape LLC for Liberty subdivision in the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion's been made to move the consent agenda by Mr. Guard, second by Stacy. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. New ordinances this evening. Bill number 19-49. An ordinance amending chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri regarding guest houses. Motion. Oh, need a motion.
Second.
Who made the motion? Stacy. Stacy, and seconded by Dan. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bill number 19-50, an ordinance approving the record plat of Herrig Development Subdivision.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Robbie. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Bill number 19-52, an ordinance approving the record plat of Liberty Subdivision. First, second, and third reading.
You gotta read it. You have to read it.
I know. An ordinance approving the record plat of Liberty Subdivision. Bill number 19-52, an ordinance approving the record plat of Liberty Subdivision.
So moved.
Made by Mr. Guard, seconded by Dan. Discussion. If not,
This is the, where is this at? This,
Liberty is down on Linden.
oh, okay, so this is
West
you
End-
guys.
West End and Walnut.
West End and Walnut, sorry.
Okay, this is you guys? Okay, okay, okay.
Looking forward to it.
Getting there. If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Bill number 19-53, an ordinance accepting 2 permanent sewer and utility easements from Jury Properties Incorporated for Deerfield Estates Phase 2 in the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Robbie. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 19-54, an ordinance accepting 4 permanent sewer and utility easements for Kensington Place 1 in the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Robbie. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have 2 appointments this evening to the Town Plaza Community Improvement District Board of Directors. Jack Ford and Scott Campbell.
So moved.
Second.
By Mr. Guard, seconded by Ryan. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there any other business to take care of this evening? Anybody's mind? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn to closed session to discuss legal actions and litigation, confidential communications with legal counsel, and property transactions pursuant to RS Missouri Section 610.0211 and 2.
So moved.
And so paragraph 3 for personnel.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
We are now adjourned to closed session.
Thank goodness for Eric.